Welcome back to Between Screenings. Myself and Tom Percival will be chatting all things film. It is the summer season, so it's a bit of a dearth of indie fare at the moment. There doesn't seem to be a whole heap of counter programming going on in my multiplex. So we are going to be chatting about Spider-Man and seeing if either of our amazing box office predictions from last time come true, because it's had a few weeks in the cinema. And we thought, well, will it do okay? This will be the test. Do people still care about these sorts of things? I think the general public have answered that one, have they, Tom?
I think they might have. What were we saying? I think if it does anything less than 800, like in its entire run, Marvel will deem this a failure. And it did 800 in its opening weekend. I think our powers of prognostication, Neil, perhaps aren't the most accurate, consider all things considered.
Think we underestimated this film as a lot of people did. I think biggest domestic office opening of all time, not adjusted for inflation. But cinema tickets, I don't think, have gone up a whopping great amount since Endgame. So biggest domestic box office opening of all time, possibly going to race to the biggest domestic taking of all time. Maybe if it carries on, it will be the first film to hit 1 billion domestically and the first film ever to hit 3 billion globally, which it is insane. It's Spider-Man. So, people do love Spider-Man, but none of the previous Spider-Man films have got anywhere near this big. Even with the madness of the fanboy service of the last one with the Andrew Garfield and all the other crossover stuff, Tobey Maguire and whatnot, which I swerved. That's the only Spider-Man film I've not seen in the cinema.
Well,
because I just couldn't be dealing with all the multiverse nonsense. It did my head in. So it's kind of back to one baddie Spider-Man trying to save Mary Jane and trying to sort of deal with the fact she can't remember him and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that on its own apparently is enough. Spider-Man on his own is enough to save superheroes.
well, I do think, and again, I realize we said this after Supergirl, that Spider-Man would be the real test. So I do realize I'm slightly contradicting myself here, but I do think that we do need to acknowledge that Spider-Man is the most popular superhero in the world by a comfortable distance. I think the stat, and this is probably a little out of date, that I have to hand is that the biggest true superheroes in the world are Spider-Man, Batman, and Superman. And you could add Batman and Superman's merchandise budget, the amount they make in merch each year together, and you still are only 2/3 of what Spider-Man alone makes. That's how massive this character is. I am still shocked how well this is done. So I was lucky enough to see this film a few days before it came out. My friends and I, as we left, said that was really good, but Marvel and Sony salted the ground a little bit? Because I think I'll ask you your thoughts on it in a minute, Neil. But I thought it was just a super solid superhero movie. Really good. Really, in fact, probably better than good. But nothing in there was on the level of an Avengers movie, as you mentioned, No Way Home, which obviously had the cameos of the other two Spider-Men, that sort of would make this a big word of mouth hit amongst people who aren't necessarily going to see everything at the cinema. So I was like, this will do well, but I think it's probably going to do less than No Way Home, simply because what's that drive to get people into theaters? I mean, again, it shows exactly what we know, and I do think. I think it's been boosted by the fact that Tom Holland and Zendaya are having a huge moment in pop culture right now. They are all over Instagram because of The Odyssey and Spider-Man coming out so close together. The Odyssey also, of course, breaking a bit first. The second Christopher Nolan film to break a bill. I do think that gives people, it makes people, ooh, they've got another film out, I'll go see that. It's just fascinating, to be honest, how well it's done. I like to be, within touching distance potentially of Endgame's box office record is madness. And I do think
to overtake Endgame as the biggest opening weekend domestically was insane because you're not relying on word of mouth then. You're relying on people being excited about what's going to be delivered.
Yeah.
And excited about the marketing, excited about the film. So, Marvel haven't managed to do that with any of the other films. Like Fantastic Four had an amazing cast, looked like it was going to be cool, didn't do that great. Thunderbolts, no one cared. New Captain America, no one cared. Like you say, Spider-Man, people care and people turn up for. But this was, people really turned up. It was, mad. And I've seen it, and I thought it was okay. I thought it was decent. It was a fun superhero movie. I don't think it did anything particularly special. I think the kind of the him not remembering Zendaya, him not remembering his friends was kind of interesting, but they kind of dealt with that quite. I feel like that could have maybe gone on a bit more. They could have done. I feel like they could have done something more interesting with that, but they kind of were like, no, we just need to get them back together as quickly as we can. I was slightly worried because there was some Marvel sort of quality CGI early in the film, and I was like, please, let's not have too much of this. And I don't think it did went overly heavy with that stuff. Interesting that it's a sort of Spider-Man movie, and I think it's interesting, isn't it? The Batman's the next biggest superhero to Spider-Man, but they're very, very different in terms of Batman is this angst-ridden, sort of dark, anti-hero-esque superhero.
Yeah, he's a brooding sort.
Whereas Spider-Man is your sort of likable, quirky, happy chappy superhero. Cocky, like flippant. And the first half of this film is a bit more Batman.
He's a
bit more brooding in his tech world and getting all upset and going out and just being the vigilante constant. So you sort of miss a bit of the fun Spider-Man early in the film, which, was kind of interesting. But yeah, I don't think it did anything for me that would rise it this far above the previous Spider-Man film I've seen.
Well, no, I completely agree. Like, again, I really enjoyed this movie, and I don't want to talk it down, but I do think that it's like, I've enjoyed the Tom Holland. I don't think Tom Holland's made a bad Spider-Man movie. Like, you can argue about No Way Home and whether it's a bit too reliant on fan service, but I still think it works. I think like this is on a level for me with Homecoming. The first Spider-Man movie he made, which I thought was really good. Like, and I think people are like underestimating quite how like. That has one of the best moments in superhero movies when the Vulture's sat at, he's driving Peter and his date to the Homecoming, and all of a sudden he clocks Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and that's just that line, good old Spider-Man. Like, it's genuinely quite creepy. And I think this film's on a level with that, so I don't quite understand why everyone's lost their minds about this. I do think Marvel was really clever. Marvel and Sony were really clever in the way they marketed this. And like they put out these trailers that sort of hinted, like they never confirmed who the villain was. They had Sadie Sink, and they never said she is playing Jean Grey. It was in certain corners of the internet knew, but for the most part, you had no idea who the villain was, which I do think was a draw. They implied that we'd get to see a lot. They had Scorpion in the trailer, Boomerang, Tarantula. Like they implied it was going to be bigger than perhaps it ended up being. I do think the tease of Peter turning into something, in the trailers, we kept on seeing him with the black eyes and you're changing. I do think they were sort of, people may have gone to the theater expecting something that was never going to happen in a Disney film. Let's be completely honest. We were never going to get The Fly meets Spider-Man as much as fans might have wanted it. But ultimately, I do think the reason why this film worked is it's just genuine. It's just really well made. Like, I went to see it at the press screening, and then, as I say, a few days later, I went to a general audience screening, and people just having a great time. Like, it's nice to see people engaging with with the film. They were clapping, they were cheering, they were behaving very American, if you don't mind me saying, to be completely honest.
Not allowed in a cinema, sorry.
There was a woman sat me who kept pointing at the screen every 2 minutes, and I was like, more power to you, because you're not talking. So clearly, it just clicked with people in a way I don't necessarily understand.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I say, I enjoyed it. I think it didn't feel like it's 2 hour 40 minute runtime. It sort of moved at a decent pace. It was a nice film. I mean, Florence Pugh was phoning it in that bathtub.
She was
Like,
all, no, I like Florence Pugh in that.
she was phoning that in.
No, big potato, small potato. It was good.
She was phoning that in. Oh my days! I mean, I've not seen any of the other stuff she's in where she's doing this absolutely god awful Russian accent, but
See, that's basically the
absolutely
character.
phoning it in.
That's the character.
Absolute. I mean, she had to put in zero effort and gave zero shits about doing that. I can tell it just yeah. I'm here because I have to be. That like
Yeah,
it would yeah. I found it amusing, but yes. But for me, that stuff I don't care about because I'm not bought into the wider world of Marvel. So it works as a standalone film. I think the fact it's had such staying power after such a big opening weekend is obviously showing people are rewatching it. People are telling other people to go and see it. There is pretty much nothing else out now for a while, so it's kind of got the multiplexes to themselves. And you've got to remember, it's done this bigger box office without premium format.
Yeah,
it's
no
not
IMAX.
had the IMAXs because Nolan's got all the IMAXs still.
I wonder if Kevin Feige is currently sat in meetings discussing the fact that they have no IMAX screens for Dune 3 either when Doomsday comes out, and whether they're thinking, right, how can we replicate this?
Yeah, I mean, it's mad. I'm assuming maybe it'll get another kick at the box office when it does hit IMAX, and some people who've seen it go back to experience it in IMAX.
I mean, you got to imagine it could happen.
So yeah, no, it's okay as a film. I mean, it's
better than okay. It's still like
no, I don't know if it is. It's for what it is. It's good enough, I suppose.
It's a Spider-Man movie. Like, you know, I think it's up there. I think it's possibly a top 3 Spider-Man movie. I think not outside the animated ones, because obviously the Spider-Verse movies are just their own beast entirely. But I think, like, you know, you could mention it in the same breath as Spider-Man 2, Homecoming, and this, and I wouldn't be like, wow, that person has terrible opinions.
But again, I think that it's the testament to the character of Spider-Man that you can have the live-action Spider-Man movies, and then you can have the Spider-Verse movies as well, and they all do amazingly well.
Yeah.
But the same with Batman. You've got Robert Pattinson's Batman, and then you've got the Joker, the first one, which was decent. And then you've got what will be the DCU Batman films, which I'm sure will also do well.
If we ever get there.
If we ever get there.
Because, as we say, that Supergirl box office, I think, may be drawing question marks over James Gunn's tenure as the head of DC.
It'll be interesting to see how Clayface does. It'll be interesting to see how Clayface does.
But Clayface
is on a much smaller budget, though.
Clayface is made what? Is made, I think, on a 70 million budget. So it doesn't need, and it's got directed by is the Mike Flanagan writer or director? I can't remember now off the top of my head.
It's James Watkins is directing.
Right, okay. You know, I'm like...
Screenplay Mike Flanagan.
That's it. I'm very optimistic for Clayface, based mainly on the fact that it didn't cost a lot to make. Even if it doesn't do well, Neil, we need to support it because it was filmed partly in Manchester. So, you know.
Well, I'll be going to see Clayface. I think it looks exactly what I kind of want from DC. I want that. I want the Penguin TV series. I want Matt Reeves' Batman. I want something completely opposite to Marvel. I want the darker, grittier stuff. I don't want Schneider's version of darker and grittier, which is literally just darker in color.
What if Superman was Jesus? That would be a really clever allegory, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame Henry Cavill. I didn't mind the Henry Cavill Superman. I didn't like the second half of Man of Steel because it was just a big smash 'em up for far too long.
Yeah.
But generally, I'll be interested to see I'm interested to see this one because they're kind of a slightly different take on that whole genre. Whereas I think DC tries too often to just sort of lean in and copy what Marvel have done rather than doing their own thing. And you're always going to fail because you're not Marvel. Your heroes are different.
No, I completely agree. I mean, we'll talk in a bit about why I haven't been to the cinema so much in the last week or so, because I will have been watching a DC project. But Yeah, I agree, and I'm very excited for Clayface because I do think it has that slightly. It looks like it has an edge to it. That I mean, I enjoyed Spider-Man as I say, but it's very soft and cuddly. The Punisher is allowed to say shit, and that's about it. Even though in the Netflix series, he's saying he's dropping an F-bomb every other word, basically.
That's the thing. Again, I could enjoy the Punisher being in it. I enjoyed the like those were some of the better bits for me. I really enjoyed it. I knew nothing about the Punisher. I don't
Right.
know anything about the Punisher. I've not seen any of the TV series. I've not read a comic book with him in it, or I don't think I've even read a proper comic book in my lifetime. Sorry to say. But I could enjoy the bits he was in. I got his character. You know, it was fun. I had fun watching it, so I think that's all you can ask for in that sort of film.
No, I completely
Um,
agree.
and it didn't go over the top with the fights and with the whatever else. You're never gonna, Spider-Man's gonna win at the end, and that's always the problem these films have. But it made it fun enough with, who are the real bad? I mean, it kind of signposted who the real baddie was pretty easily and pretty early
Yeah,
on
I
if you're
mean, if
paying
I
attention. But
I do feel I do have to put one big demerit in the house points of Spider-Man: Brand New Day in the completely wasted Trammell Tillman. Like he is so good, and he is playing one of the dullest characters in superhero fiction. I think he basically just wants Jean Grey's powers for himself, and he's just a bad guy. And I was like, you know when he turns up in the Mission Impossible movies, and he's so weird. Like it just really, really brings that offbeat energy that we see in Severance.
Severance,
Like
yeah,
you want that in everything he does, and I appreciate he can't do it for everything. He doesn't want to get typecast, but he is genuinely one of the dullest supervillains. I think if the rest of it wasn't the rest of Brand New Day wasn't so good, we'd be saying that this is up there with Malekith and the from Dark for the Dark World and the other Phase 2 villains who we all hate.
yeah. I mean, it was pretty obvious from the start that they were the baddies,
Yeah,
the real baddies, and I think they kind of revealed that it was Jean Grey a little bit early for me because as soon as I am not a big superhero fan, but as soon as I heard she was Jean Grey, I was like, oh right, she's
yeah.
definitely not a bad.
I will say there was a very funny moment in the cinema when I went to the normal screening, in that there is a very obvious pause when Peter works out that it's Jean Grey, and you know how Marvel's accused of leaving beats after a big dramatic reveal for the audience to clap. When they do not clap, like they did not in my theatre, it is exceptionally awkward because all you hear is the silence. There is no noise. It is just an empty screening of people who could not give less of a shit because everyone knew it was Jean Grey at that point anyway. So yeah. I will say there was one particular cherry on top of my Spider-Man experience, which I do think has given it a little bit, one of the reasons I enjoyed it as much as I did. I saw some people filming the end of the post-credit scene at the press screening of all things.
Shocking.
Yes. Well, I have never, and I was expecting these people to get away with that. However, security came down on them like an absolute ton of bricks. No one on the aisle, it was like, you can't leave your seat until you show me your phone and I watch you delete that footage. They were like, have you sent that to anyone? And they were like, no, I sent it to anyone. And I was like, yes. This is. Can we have this in normal cinemas, please? I really respected the good work, security team at the press screening. You were doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, and also, other than paying my respect to everyone who worked on the film, staying for that post-credit scene was the biggest waste of my time ever.
Yeah, I was irritated as well.
Don't bother. If you've not seen Spider-Man yet, do not bother waiting for the post-credit scene. It is probably one of the worst ones I've ever seen.
It's genuinely shocking. I'm interested now, based on the success of this, to see, because again, I've seen loads of people saying Marvel's back. I'd be very interested now because we've got December. Is it December 13th?
Doomsday.
Doomsday finally lands, and I will say that I have noted a lot more sort of enthusiasm building for this film, because when the first trailer came out, there was a lot of people being a bit doom and gloom. pun unintended, about the way the trailer looks, and I've noticed that people were like, "Actually, does this look pretty good now?" And I don't know whether that's the afterglow of Spider-Man or whether Marvel's just got its shit together with that trailer. But I'm certainly more interested in it than I was before, and I think I don't think Doomsday does as well as Spider-Man. I'll be honest. To make another prediction, which will undoubtedly be proven wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know now. Everything would suggest that it's going to be bigger than Spider-Man.
Everything would suggest, like, in a normal world, yes. However, I do not know if the general public care enough. Like, the circles I move in all know that there's an Avengers movie coming out. But if you went and said to my sister, for example, "Oh, there's a new Avengers movie coming out," would she know? That's the question.
No, possibly not. And they won't care that the Russo brothers are back directing because
they won't.
Need to really know what. So Spider-Man isn't in Doomsday?
No, apparently not.
That's interesting. I mean, I don't know enough about what's going on, but that seems odd.
So,
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought frozen. So Spider-Man isn't in it, supposedly. However, I imagine we will be getting a cameo at some point during the film that they are just not reporting on right now. Because I just don't see a world in which they don't put Spider-Man, their most popular character, in this film.
Yeah, but wouldn't you now be thinking, well, I mean, I'd be popping a trailer out with him in it between now and the release. With how big this film's just gone.
I joked about this the day after that when we saw the film's huge box office, that Kevin Feige must have gone to work that day and said, "Put out a trailer and put Spider-Man in it." And they were like, "Tom Holland's not in it, and just put him in it anyway. Don't care. Use old footage. Just stick Spider-Man in it somewhere."
Right, we've got 3 months reshoots. We just need 5 minutes. We need 5 minutes. Get him in.
Well, this is the interesting thing, because Tom Holland was seen filming something as Spider-Man round London relatively recently, and people were like, "Is it for Secret Wars? Is it for Doomsday?" So maybe he is in it, and maybe they're just not. Maybe they're hoping for word of mouth, that people go see it and say, "Oh, did you know that Tom Holland has a cameo in this?"
Well, we shall see. Right, that's enough Spider-Man chat, to be honest. I'm bored now.
Right, should we talk about something you've been to see? Should we talk about the end of Oak Street and J.J. Abrams' return? Well, no, he didn't even direct it, did he? He's just the producer on it.
It's just a bad robot film he's just produced.
Right.
Yes, let's. And it's yet another film starring everyone's favourite actress, Anne Hathaway, who
Excellent.
I think has just been ramming him in as much as she can before she gives birth.
She's got a kid to pay for. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because she's obviously not got enough money to pay for a kid at the moment, and people have been questioning whether her baby bump was real. Like, people are wrong in their head.
On that. It's weird.
People are weird. So yeah, directed and written by David Robert Mitchell.
Oh, the It Follows guy.
The guy from It Follows, yes, not
Excellent.
the guy from Peep Show, who I don't think is Robert. Is he just David Mitchell?
I think he's just David Mitchell.
Because I was slightly confused for a second. So yes, the director of It Follows. It is a dinosaur movie. So it is, and I'm not giving anything away here because this is kind of in the trailer. A Oak Street, the sort of area, gets blipped and taken back into the Jurassic or period when there were dinosaurs. Well, whether it was the Jurassic period or a different period of history, because there are multiple where dinosaurs existed, it's blipped back, and suddenly everyone in that street is just stuck 300 odd million years ago, and they kind of have to fend for themselves and figure out what the hell's happened and get through it. And Anne Hathaway and Ewan McGregor star. They're kind of the leads with their 2 kids, and they're kind of going through marital problems, and it sets it up nicely with all that kind of stuff. And then, yeah, dinosaurs run around. They have to run away. It's a bit of fun. It's an hour and 40 minutes, which is absolutely amazing in my book for a film nowadays. It's fun. There are dinosaurs. I like the design of the dinosaurs. They're all a bit fluffy and feathery.
Nice.
There are some fun moments with the dinosaurs, some silly moments with the dinosaurs. There's plenty of chases where the dinosaurs should have caught them and eaten them within 2 seconds, but for some reason the dinosaurs slow down while chasing humans.
Well, they want to give them a fair crack.
Which I think we've all seen in dinosaur films.
Yeah, Jurassic World, when she's running in high heels and the T-Rex just can't catch her.
Just can't catch her up because they were notoriously slow, those T-Rex. So there's lots of bits like that, which is all part of the fun. I won't do any spoilers because I know you've not seen it yet, but the end's quite interesting. There's sort of some moral questions kind of raised at the end as well, which is interesting. Kind of more for you to then leave the cinema with. It doesn't deal with them itself. It just stuff happens at the end, and you're kind of left thinking, was that the right thing to do or not?
Interesting.
So I'll leave that to you, and we can discuss that next time maybe. But no, fun. I think it's interesting. It's an original film. It's from a sort of indie director. It's an 80 million budget, which is big. I hope it does well enough to justify that budget. I hope it gets to at least 200 million worldwide to justify that budget, because I want original films.
Well, this seems like the type of thing that a few years ago would be a very safe bet. You know, you've got two big stars, Anne Hathaway coming off the back of Odyssey, Ewan McGregor, everyone loves Ewan McGregor. I appreciate it's not J.J. Abrams directed, but it's got J.J. Abrams' name attached to it. I would have seen this easy breaking 300 mil, not a massive movie, but certainly enough of a return for you to be like, yeah, solid. But again, you just don't know these days, like with just how these types of films, but mid-budget movies, how will it perform? We do not know.
Yeah, I mean, funny that we're talking about an 80 million budget as being mid-budget there.
It's mad, isn't it?
I mean, it's done 47 million in its opening weekend worldwide, so it needs to 4x that really to get to where it needs to be, and that's a lot to do. It's got to stick around. It's got to hope that the new releases coming out aren't gonna to keep you away from it. It's a 12A. It could easily have gone for 15 and been a bit more graphic with some of the stuff, but it obviously has gone 12A. There were a lot of kids in the screening I went to, so dinosaurs always kind of appeal to the younger demographic as well. So I hope it sticks around. I hope it does well. It's fun. Yeah, I certainly had fun with it for an hour and 40 minutes. If you're looking for something to just go and have a bit of fun with this summer, then I suggest going and checking it out.
I mean, looking at what is to come, it's not got a lot of competition in sort of Coyote versus Acme. The long-awaited,
absolutely terrible. I've heard some absolutely terrible reviews for that.
Really, it's got 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, but
right, okay.
I'm less excited for the Dog Stars, the Ridley Scott's new picture, to be completely honest.
I quite liked the trailer for that. I'll be interested in that one. Up for another zombie movie?
I mean, I don't. No, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. I think we'll see. Maybe Spider-Man will just keep making millions and millions and pour at the end of Oak Street. There
certainly aren't any other big sort of box office behemoths coming out in the coming weeks. I mean, I'm just looking through trying to see when the next really big movie is coming out, and it is quite a wait.
Who knows though?
So maybe it'll stick around, maybe it'll do all right. Yeah, I mean, it's quite a wait for the next big one, to be honest.
What is
Unless
the next
I'm missing
big thing?
something. I don't know. I've not got to it yet.
Is it Clayface? Is it Clayface in October?
It's certainly not Her Private Hell at the end of September. I'll tell you that now. Wow. I'm cycling through now to see what we've got to come, and in terms of like blockbusters, it's very thin on the ground. Street Fighter on the 16th of October, maybe?
Yeah, come on.
Clayface on the 23rd. Yeah, there's it can stick around for quite a while. I would say it's got the chance to stick around for quite a while. I think there's another Resident Evil film coming out. Hunger Games, new Hunger Games comes out at some point. I'm not quite sure when that'll be. Hopefully, be quite big. But yeah, but also, I mean, it means it's go and see that if you like a big one. But there's lots of interesting films coming out as well soon, including a film I saw at Cannes, Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma, which if you go back to the Cannes episode, I'm sure I talked about, but I can talk about a little bit more. You've not seen it yet, have you?
No, I've got tickets for it on Friday.
So I won't give too much away, but it is great fun. Some really great filmmaking in it, some like lovely practical sets with painted back cloths, like really sort of nods to films of the past, nods to sort of horror franchises. It's a bit of a meta film in that sense. It's good fun. It's good fun. The two lead performances are fantastic. Gillian Anderson is brilliant in it, and there's a lot of sweets. So if you like gummies, as they call them in the film, which are sort of your softer sweets, your Haribos that they don't seem to have in America. For some reason. Haribos. They talk about gummy sweets a lot, and there's a lot of candy in the film. But yeah, it's fun. It sets its stall out very early with the level of violence, and you'll very much enjoy. There's one party scene about midway through, which is I just absolutely loved and thought was absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I mean, if you've seen all the big stuff, or if you can't be asked with the big stuff, as I normally can't, and you just want to go and watch something a bit cool and different, then Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma is out this Friday, the 21st of August. So I would strongly advise going and checking that out. And then I'll be on holiday.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go see it. I'll go to the screening of it. That much I will say, because I like a Ridley Scott rarely lets me down, except when he does, famously. Gladiator 2, I'm looking at you. Yeah. It's just it's the one that's at the forefront of my mind. If, however, you can't afford the cinema and you do have a HBO Max subscription, I can recommend a TV show, because I would recommend Lanterns, because, and I mentioned earlier, I had been very busy with a DCU project. So this is a TV show about the Green Lanterns, and I know those of you who know the character will be terrified at the mere mention, because obviously we had the Ryan Reynolds movie from, God, over a decade ago now, which might be one of the worst films ever made. It will make you hate Ryan Reynolds more than you probably already hate Ryan Reynolds. But this is really quite good. Very different, very low key. It's quite interesting. It's got Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre as sort of the two Green Lanterns. And I can't lie, they're basically doing a True Detective set in the DCU. That's basically what it's trying to be. And it's a really effective mystery. Like, it's really compelling. I don't think it's quite as grown up as it is sort of like the marketing would want you to believe. The marketing definitely wants you to think you're watching, a new Twin Peaks, a new sort of like, gritty, dark TV show along those lines. I think it's having a little more fun than that, but it's a really impressive show. I think Kyle Chandler and, as I say, Aaron Pierre, absolutely fantastic in it. Like, genuinely have such good banter, such good chemistry. The first episode is out tonight on Sky, and I think is available to watch already if you've got the streaming service. But I absolutely loved it. Thought it was brilliant. I've seen 7 of the 8, and I'm really annoyed that I don't have the 8th episode to watch. So I can't really recommend it more than that. I fell off that. I love that you felt... What did you make of The Bear? Yeah, I didn't like season 3, and I thought season 4 was okay. So I really was in no rush for The Bear season 5. I thought it was fantastic. Like, genuinely, such a satisfying ending to that show. Yeah, of course. Yes. Oh, well, yeah, I'd say that. And seeing characters you like get a win is always nice television, which is why, Neil, you should go watch Ted Lasso. No, you're very, very wrong. You gone. Oh, wow, it's taking you that long to get to Uncut Gems. I mean, it is a superb movie. It is extremely stressful. When I went to see it, funnily enough, I went to see it at home in Manchester, and Carl was sat 2 rows behind me at that first screening of the day, which was a nice surprise. But my friend Cam, it was a sold-out screening, and my friend Cam was sat next to this woman, and she had a similar experience to Amy in that she found it far too stressful. It was clearly too much for her. But because she'd paid like her £7.50 for her ticket, she was determined to sit all the way through it. So she had an absolutely miserable 2.5 hours of Adam Sandler basically making bad decision after bad decision. No, it doesn't. A beautiful, yeah, okay. Admit it, yes, I would agree with that. He makes a good decision. He just explains himself poorly. No. Lessons for life from Uncut Gems. Oh yeah, no, genuinely. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think if there's anything that's genuinely made me go, well, like that in some time. Probably not. Like Uncut Gems' big twist. Well, I say twist. Ending it's just surprising. I like that we're talking around the spoilers on like a 10-year-old movie at this point. Yep, I'd completely agree. You mean the talented Safdie brother? Because one made what was it called again? The Smashing Machine. God, I kind of it's telling, isn't it, that film came out this year and I can't even remember the name of it. Oh God, God tells you everything I know. Yeah, I mean you've no doubt seen them because you've with your festival trips, you'll have seen everything I go to over the next few weeks. Sounds. No, we won't be. Sounds delightful. Bye bye.